Good morning, everyone. It's July 22nd, 2019. And I'm Eric. So, I've been away for about, 2 weeks? Something like that. And, it's not that I haven't been keeping tabs on things that are going on, as I've been moving. And, well, most of the work falls on my shoulders. So, I've been moving, and I am so glad to get the fuck out of the city. It's much quieter out here in small town America. So, Brian from High Impact Flicks did a video about Mark Dice. And I don't think he really captured the immaturity and, well, flat-out stupidity of Mark Dice. So we're going to check out some of what Mark Dice says to Jim Acosta of CNN and kind of talk about it, I guess. So check it out. I'm sure you're familiar with the footage by now, but if you haven't seen this, Mark Dice confronts Jim Acosta at the social media summit, I believe is what they were calling it. Perhaps social media censorship summit would be a better term. So, let's see what old Mark Dice has to say to dickhead there, Jim Acosta. And by the way, I think both of them are dickheads.
So you just pull out these corny lines, Jim. My book beat yours on Amazon.
Is that right? Wow.
It did. The true story of fake news.
Were you able to color inside the lines?
You see, this is how arrogant.
You see, and that cracks me up. That cracks me up, his little comeback there. And, you know, I hate to say it, and I wouldn't say side with a dickhead here, Jim Acosta, but Mark is acting pretty immature about the whole going to the White House thing. And it's amusing watching this guy make Mark look kind of stupid. Let's continue.
Jim, this is how arrogant you guys are, though. I'm just a YouTuber on my laptop in my kitchen, and my book sold more than yours, Jim. My YouTube videos get 1/3 of Anderson Cooper's views, and you're disrespecting me because you're so arrogant, Jim.
Well, I don't know if that's the case, but hey, since you're recording me, I'll record
sure.
you guys.
Hey, thanks for unblocking me on Twitter, though, by the way. Jim, I think you owe me an apology for thinking that I make my YouTube videos in my mother's basement. Make them in the kitchen, Jim. On my laptop.
If it's your mother's kitchen or your mother's
No,
basement, I apologize.
but seriously, though, Jim.
Let me just correct the record here. I'm sorry that...
in Mark Dice's kitchen.
I'm sorry that I said it was in your mother's basement when it was in your mother's kitchen. I apologize.
It's my kitchen, Jim. And this just shows you how arrogant you are about the new social media technology.
It would be great if you could find a gainful career besides what you're
writing best-selling books and becoming a top YouTuber and
you're just
being a social...
So, he's writing best-selling books and he's a top YouTuber when YouTube is pretty much on its way out, right? I mean, look how many people are either being banned from YouTube or fleeing YouTube because they will eventually be banned. The thing about individuals like Mark Dice, the thing about them is they know damn well that Donald Trump, their beloved God there, they know damn well that he is in the black book of Jeffrey Epstein. They also know that Donald Trump has flown on the Lolita Express. Do Do you hear any of these guys talking about that? See, that's my problem with this stupid left-right paradigm, Republican and Democrat mindset. No matter what their preferred candidate does, as Donald Trump said, I can murder somebody in the street and I would still be elected president. Right? You remember that? No matter what the people's preferred candidate, who they are, rather, they will never, ever acknowledge the horrible events that they are involved with, horrible actions that they are involved with. They'll never admit that Donald Trump is sexually attracted to his own daughter. They'll never admit that Donald Trump said that Jeffrey Epstein was a hell of a guy and liked his ladies on the young side. Remember that? And this is why we are stuck in this, I prefer to call it purgatory, this kind of world of being in suspended animation, I guess you could say, or maybe we're just stuck in the middle of two groups of idiots fighting over which slave master is kinder. Now, a lot of the conservative people out there, they'll say that they're Christians and they're God-fearing people, and yet they do the one thing that their God demanded of them, one thing, and that was not to worship other gods. And that's exactly what each side of the aisle does. They worship the gods of their political parties, or perhaps the God that is their political parties. And things will never change until this is no longer the case. But since I'm here right now with you, there's a few things to hit regarding current events. One of them being the uptick in volcanic activity over there in Yellowstone, or seismic rather, over there in Yellowstone, along with, the entire West Coast. It's just a matter of an earthquake in the right place before Yellowstone blows its top. And of course, the Ebola thing has been declared a worldwide emergency. So let's check out some of these things and talk about it. And by the way, I'm glad to be back with all of you. And one more thing about Mark Dice. His behavior at the summit was extremely childish. He was like a groupie meeting one of their band's favorite, or one of their favorite band's lead singers or guitarists. He acted all giddy and just like a woman. I don't much care for conservatives. I really don't. They're as artificial and fake as the leftists. And he really showed just how immature and childish he really is. But here we are at the Free Thought Project. Cops claimed to smell weed, so they handcuffed a man and sodomized him. It's a perfectly reasonable, thing to do when one smells weed. If you're a cop, let's say we smell weed so we can sodomize this innocent man. Even if he had weed, even if he had it, he would still be innocent. I mean, after all, it is nothing more than a plant, right? So, your government, I say yours because it's not my government. I don't vote for these assholes, and I certainly don't support them. But the Pentagon, hundreds of the officials there at the Pentagon have been caught running child porn networks on official DoD computers. Yeah. Isn't that nice? Isn't that just lovely? The people who most Americans, especially conservative Americans, call good guys are there at the Pentagon, and they're trading porn there, child porn, and probably a lot more. They're probably directly involved with child trafficking. Probably. So, and you've of course heard by now that a bunch of idiots were planning to storm Area 51. Now, I seriously doubt that there's even anything at Area 51 anymore. I really do. Just like I doubt that there's any gold there in Fort Knox. It's probably gone. U.S. police have killed over 1,200% more citizens than mass shooters since 2015. Yeah, how about that? So, let's check that one out. Since, crooked law enforcement officials are one of my favorite topics. The numbers do not lie. Damn it. Alright, here we go. The numbers do not lie. And police in America have killed 12.8 times more citizens than mass shooters in just the last 4 years. And these people are your enemy. Anyone who seeks to deprive you or anybody else of their God-given rights, anyone who believes they have a right to kidnap and cage somebody or tell us what we may or may not do, anyone who wants to control you is your enemy. So, tragically in America, mass shootings in which murdering psychopaths go on rampages in public places have claimed the lives of 339 people since 2015. While this number is certainly shocking and far too high, during the same time frame, police in America have claimed the lives of 4,355 citizens. Now, no one here can make the claim that all 4,355 of these citizens were innocent people. However, look how many times these individuals have been caught planting evidence, blatantly lying about events, and so on and so forth. So it makes it kind of hard to believe the law enforcement side. But then again, when people are out there faking attacks from law enforcement, specifically people of color and those from the LGBT community, it's hard to take them seriously as well. Both groups of people are your enemy. Both groups of people want to control you. Both groups of people, well, one of the groups already uses force upon you, and then the other group of people would use force given the proper authority. While some of these citizens were armed and dangerous, others were innocent, unarmed, and included small children. Daniel Shaver was one of these people, whose life was brought to a screeching halt as he begged on his knees for police not to shoot him. You remember that? It's where, a man was gunned down in cold blood in a Arizona hotel. Despite being innocent and unarmed, this father of three was murdered in cold blood by Philip Brailsford, who was never held accountable and allowed to retire from the police force with his pension. Jeremy Martis was another one of these citizens who was gunned down in cold blood by two killer cops. Martis was just 6 years old when he was murdered by these killer cops. Everyone is fair game. Innocent men, old grandmas, children, pregnant women. Everybody is fair game. And if you disobey, if you flinch the wrong way, if your tongue speaks the wrong words, you're liable to be summarily executed by one of these roided out individual cops. And yes, they are roided out. So, what else has gone on in the world of dirty ass pigs? Quite a bit actually. So, damn it, it changed on me. Bad apple question mark. Every cop in this department has been convicted of domestic violence, and one is a sex offender. How are you a cop if you're a sex offender? Can you tell me this? Can you tell me how one of these individuals are able to be hidden behind the authority of the state? So, cop assault and arrest two Marines for giving first aid to an unconscious man. Beginning to see the nature of your enslavement? I hope so. City announces cops to begin arresting people for being homeless in the wrong part of town. You know, that part where the mayor or the police chief or any of these other individuals live. If you're homeless and you're in their part of town, well, you're going to go to fucking jail. In the Marvel's new comic, the Punisher gives a beatdown to cops who keep on using him as an icon. And I thought this was really, really amusing when, well, it's been a few months, maybe even longer, where the police department used the Punisher logo on their squad cars, and the people who make the Punisher came out and said that it was a unfortunate failure of law enforcement. They're the Punisher. When the Punisher, really, really did not care for crooked politicians or cops. Pretty good show, by the way. Punisher show. Okay. Serial child molester and abuser sentenced to 30 days as man gets 4 years for 22 grams of weed. And that's a little under an ounce of weed. Yet, this serial child molester, they get 30 days. Slap on the proverbial nutsack there. That's justice in your country. You know, the greatest country in the world. I say that with sarcasm, by the way. Let's see, what else is going on out there? Peace is about to be taken from the earth, and World War III could literally start at any moment. And that one comes from Michael Schneider, except where the fuck has he been? Where's he been? Because there is no peace on this earth. So how can it be taken? How can it be taken if it's not there? Michael says that, or poses the question, why aren't more Americans concerned that we could be on the verge of an apocalyptic war with Iran? If there was still any doubt, what happened Friday made it exceedingly clear that we are literally on the brink of seeing World War III erupt in the Middle East. And of course he's referring to the seizure of the oil tanker. And this one is something we should all be concerned about. Because after all, anyone who digs up news and then talks about it on YouTube or any other platform, they could be slapped with the label of journalist, and the CIA wants to make it easier to jail journalists, and Congress isn't doing shit to stop it. But that shouldn't surprise you, right? I mean, we live in a country that has a Supreme Court who makes rulings on various actions by the government, one of which is being held with excessive bail in county jails. They declared that unconstitutional, and yet no state really has taken action to uphold what the Supreme Court said. California's homeless crisis has reached epic proportions. And again, Max Slavel here, he's going to want to blame, Democrats for this crisis, as they call it. And yet, more and more conservative cities are succumbing to homelessness too. Take my city, for example. the homeless population here has grown significantly in the last 10 years and continues to do so right now. More and more people are living on the streets, and these places that have not been touched too much by this they will have this problem just the same as Washington, Los Angeles, Portland, these places. And it's going to spread diseases. Due to poor harvest season, we are experiencing shortages on many of our canned vegetable items. Of course, we saw this coming from, a few months ago, right? We talked about how there would be massive food shortages, and it's beginning. It's beginning. So if you have not prepared, you've not went and got some dried rice or some rice and dried peas and other stuff, as much as you can possibly get, you may end up being really fucking out of luck. In fact, I would say not may end up fucking out of luck, but you're going to end up screwed like you would not believe. And right now, these things are still reasonably cheap. And you can still get a lot of rice for not much money. Other things you may want to consider in your little food supply there is sugar, coffee. And don't get that bleached bullshit sugar. Get good organic sugar. Things that you like to eat now. Candies. And I'm not telling you that to survive off of candies. I'm saying that if you like these things and you want a morale booster, having these things around will boost your morale. It will help you. But Michael Schneider again says that he knows this headline is alarming, but it is actually a direct quote from a notice that was recently posted in a Kroger supermarket. So, and these signs are being posted in more than just Kroger's. They're being posted at Walmart's, Bi-Lo's, you name it. So, seriously, if you have not stocked up on canned vegetables and dried stuff like peas, as I said, and there's a whole bunch of different stuff you can get dried. I would really seriously consider doing so. I'm not a sponsored channel. I would never monetize. I'm not trying to sell you any fucking material goods that you don't need, okay? But you do need food, and you do need a way to clean your water, to filter it, to make it drinkable. If you don't have these things, you're going to die. DARPA to put nuclear, biological, and chemical detectors in public venues. There's a lot more going on, but for my final headline here, for my final topic, Ebola outbreak declared global health emergency. We're going to cover some of this. I know this video is going on for some time, but I've been gone for some time. So, now if my computer would cooperate with me, it'd be great. Ebola outbreak declared global health emergency. This is from Max Lavo, as I just said. The Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo has been officially declared a global health emergency. The WHO issued the order as the virus has been almost impossible to contain and has infected more than 2,500 people and killed nearly 1,700. This is the second largest Ebola outbreak in history, after the one in West Africa in 2014/15, which infected 28,616 people and caused 11,310 deaths. This particular Ebola outbreak is now over a year old, and health officials saw an emergency declaration coming. People continue to become infected and die. As of Wednesday, in a formal declaration that many public health experts called long overdue, WHO says this is becoming a concern. This is still a regional emergency and by no way a global threat, said Robert Stephan of the University of Zurich, chairman of the WHO Emergency Committee that recommended the declaration, according to the New York Times. Now, we've had individuals from the Congo get into our country via the southern border. And how'd they get there? Who paid for it? And why did they pay for it? This is something you should be asking yourself. Several factors forced the panel's hand when making this declaration. The infectious disease reached Goma, a city of nearly 2 million people. The outbreak has raged for a year. The virus has flared again in spots where it had once been contained. So, the Ebola thing is not over with by any stretch of the imagination. And it's very likely that it has made it to our country, again via the southern border. And it's only a matter of time before all these factors, the economic problems we have here and across the planet, the diseases, the food shortage, all this stuff is going to combine together to make one ugly disaster. Now, officials are puzzled by the fact that their highly successful and extensive use of an experimental vaccine seems to not be having much of an effect on this outbreak. So, don't go running to get that vaccine when people start shitting on themselves because they finally realize, or it's finally been announced, that Ebola is spreading here in the United States. Don't do it, because it won't save you. The only thing that's going to save you from getting Ebola when it's more heavily spread throughout the country is isolation. That's it. Isolation, doing, everything you can to boost your immune system, rather. And that's about it. So, anyway, I thought I would talk to you guys again. I'm supposed to go back to work today, but I did not. I will be going back to work tomorrow. I will try to at least put one out a day during the work week. So, I hope you all have a great day, and remember, kill the state, live free.